Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Scwelsh Ellie, this is Skye Valkyrie, and you've probably met Charlotte before in previous videos. Today we're going to be talking about being trans in the biking community, because it's basically how we all met. So it first started off with me and Charlotte. We met through our Discord channel, the Pickle Army. Big shout out.
Actually, we met through TikTok because she was doing
Technically,
bike content.
yeah.
She was doing bike content. It's the only reason her content showed up on my page.
Yeah.
On my For You page. So.
I think it's that video where I do the big kick over, wasn't it?
Yeah, you do the backward spin kick over the bike. Yeah.
So that was the first video that you seen.
Yeah.
But when was the first time you actually contacted me?
I think had I joined Discord, I think you had posted a video about your Discord and I joined, and then when you went live I kind of chatted a little bit in the live, and then I got a bit more comfortable in the Discord group and I started talking more in the group.
Yeah. And then we were obviously talking about the NC 500, which is a big route in Scotland, basically.
Yeah,
of the Scottish Highlands.
I had said I wanted to do the west coast up to Skye, and you started talking about the NC, and I said that sounds amazing. Let's do it.
Yeah, and then before we knew it, we both made plans to actually go up to Scotland and go and do the NC 500. We've also done this with Sophie since, but that was the second year we did it. But first of all, it was me and you, wasn't it? And it was a pretty damn good year on the NC 500.
Yeah, it rained a lot, but it was amazing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they've had a lot of problems since that first year that we went to do the NC 500.
The first year, everyone was so nice. We were camping places. We were looking for somewhere to camp, and someone, I think we had ended up on private property, but someone came out and was like, "Oh, you can camp in that field there." Yeah.
But then we managed to do it all, didn't we? I think you had one problem with your V-Strom. I was on a Honda Gram, she was on a V-Strom, and what problem did you have the first year? It was the clutch.
It was actually that I needed a few minutes, so I was charging my phone with the engine off, battery died, and of course didn't bring my jump starter kit, so I had to call my insurance and get someone out to jump start it. But it turns out my clutch was slipping like crazy. We nursed it back to Inverness throughout the night. We rode until I think we got into Inverness at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Found somewhere to get a babby pizza, and then the next morning we sat outside a garage all night drinking coffee and hot chocolate.
Yeah, literally just waiting for the hotel to open because we were it's not worth getting it just for a few hours.
Yeah, and then we went to a garage and it turned out it just the clutch cable needed adjusting at the push rod.
Yeah, so then the second year we did the NC 500, we did it with 4 trans girls. So there was me, there was Sophie, there was Lottie, and there was Jessie.
Yes.
I don't know why my mind went absolutely blank there. But there's 4 of us, and it was a brilliant year. I was on the Honda Gram again. Sophie was on the SV650. What was you was on the V-Strom?
I was on the V-Strom again.
And
Jessie was on the Tiger Sport 600.
Yeah,
660, which spent most of its time
on its side.
Yeah.
A lot of the spots I picked out to camp, I'd scoped out the entire route, and we got there and there were signs that was this place is being overused, please don't camp here. So one of the nights we had no choice but to camp there, and a ranger came to us within half an hour.
Yeah, he was quite quick on it.
Yeah, but he was really nice. We explained the situation and he goes, "Look, I can see you have a bin bag, and so I'm happy that you're okay here. You might get locals coming by," and I think we had one come take photos, but
yeah, one came over and took photos of us on the bikes with the tents. But the thing is, I understand why the Scottish locals are getting very annoyed with.
Yeah.
Tourists coming over, they are just absolutely ruining the landscape.
Well, the ranger told us that there was RVs coming in and emptying their toilets out in the trees behind us, and there was multiple fire pits on the ground when they could have just used the same one.
Yeah. What was your highlight of the trip?
Mine? Oh God.
Yes.
I don't know. It was when I didn't have to deal with any of you.
When was that?
You didn't.
So,
there was no point you had to deal with any of us.
On the way up, my Senna broke.
Oh yeah.
My intercom broke.
Yes.
Had to go back to Inverness to get a replacement, and then I had a good 2-hour ride on my own along the coast, and it was fantastic.
I actually thought you were going to say Ardnamere, the salmon and the cafe.
That too, but mostly it was not having to deal with you. And then
Oh,
I'd say,
thanks.
I would say, Ardmere Point Caravan Park. The weather was terrible, but it fit the location so well.
Yeah.
It was just mountains, cliffs, and then the sea, and it was cloudy and miserable, and it just worked for some reason.
And she got salmon, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, it was fished over there."
Literally pointed the little
He
point where...
pointed the fishery. He was like, "Oh, it's over there." And then it gets smoked over there, and he pointed to the building. It's crazy. And I had about 9, I think, the time we were there, we spent one night there, I had 9 chai lattes.
Yeah. It was an absolutely beautiful place.
It was.
And that salmon was amazing as well.
Yeah.
Just it was really good.
We actually met another trans girl there.
Yeah, that was really odd. At the time though, where was she from? New Zealand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the way from New Zealand, she came over and we pulled into this campsite and we seen some biker bopping along and we were like, is that another girl biker? And we weren't quite sure. And then we sort of waved at them to be like, hi, we're bikers too, do you want to come over here?
Yeah, so they ended up coming over and pitched up beside us, and we were like, that's an egg. And it turns out, no, she's actually a trans girl. It's just she wasn't sure how the UK would be.
Yeah, so I found that quite sad because I feel like in a lot of ways the UK is seen as a very progressive country. But in the past year or two, it seems to have just massively shot downhill. Yeah. It seems to be following the American trends and things like that, and it's not a good way to go. The government seems to be going that way, and the public seems to be following what they're seeing in the news and stuff, and that's really not bloody helping.
No.
So I kind of get why you'd feel like you need to boy mode. In case you don't know, boy moding is when a trans girl pretends that they are their gender assigned at birth to prevent any sort of conflict or anything like that along the way.
So we met Sophie and Jessie on the International Female Ride Out in 2024, last year.
Yeah, so I've actually seen a comment about this and about how when you transition, how do you deal with going to bike meets and things like that, around the biker community? For me personally, I feel like the biker community is highly accepting.
Yeah.
There will be the odd person who's oh, vote reform, and then in reality they are they finally meet a trans person and they seem to be lovely weirdly, don't they?
Yeah.
I think our issue is kind of a privileged one in that you can't really tell if people are being nice to you because you pass.
Yeah.
Or not, because I've had a guy biker talking to me about, we were talking about bikes for a good 20 minutes, and then he just goes, I can't remember what brought it up, but he just started going, oh yeah, reform will sort everything out. And I'm like,
oh, I fucking had this as well.
Do you know who you're talking to?
Yeah.
I was talking to that dude in the AA van when
oh god, yes.
So basically my bearings went on my little Honda Gram.
The wheel bearings, just
the wheel bearings went on the Gram. It felt really wobbly, and I didn't feel safe riding that back home.
And you were on a dual carriageway.
Yeah, I was on a dual carriageway, and it was pretty damn scary because the back end was doing this.
And I've had it since, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, but I pulled over, I checked the bearings and stuff, and I was like, that is absolutely the problem. But this AA dude came over. He was lovely, to be fair, and he was like...
I want to point out that AA, for our American viewers, is AAA, basically. But
Yeah,
over here,
it's just like a road recovery service.
Not Alcoholics Anonymous coming to sort out a wheelbarrow.
He was lovely, and
Yeah,
he was like...
seemed really nice, to be fair. Like.
Yeah, and he was like, I was just worried that it was a dude, and he just wanted, like, quick service and stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm passing then right now.
But then he ranted on about reform, didn't he? And
Yeah, so we loaded up the bike onto the back of the flatbed, and we sort of started driving my way home, and he was like, so, oh yeah, I think he's talking about foreigners first and all this, and waffle and all that crap. And then he was like, and all this woke nonsense, and I was like, okay, you've triggered me now. So, what does woke even mean? And he was like, oh, it's just all these people who think they can identify as this, that, and everything else. And I was just like, okay, I'm definitely passing right now.
We had that at bike night the other week.
Yeah.
It's 99% of the time. We have no issues. Everybody's really lovely. And then there were these people there that we didn't recognise, and they were like very clearly within earshot of us, and they were like, I think they were talking about someone they know, and like, oh, identifies as a woman now, and we're like, right there.
Yeah.
We're literally right next to them.
It is
And
funny, like...
It's always the type of people who are like, oh, you can always tell.
But that AA van driver, like, you had a really good conversation.
We had a
You
really good
made him think about reform.
Yeah, so...
And then he went looking for your TikTok.
Yeah,
and-
so basically he was like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I do a bit of everything, but like, I'm mainly trying to focus on TikTok, because that was the platform at the time. And he was like, oh, I'll have to follow you on TikTok. Luckily, he didn't have any signal at the time. But he was talking about reform, and I was like, so have you seen what reform sort of policies are? And he was like, no, not really. And I was like, so you're saying that reform can sort everything out, but you don't know what their policies are? And he was like, oh, but they're going to sort everything out. They're going to stop all this woke nonsense. And
he ended up following you though in the end.
yeah,
didn't he?
so he ended up following me. Hi, if you're watching, I hope you've turned tables.
and you know, sorry for talking about you, but
And just in case, hope your transition's going well.
The idea is to turn everyone trans.
Yeah.
No.
no, but it was he was open to hearing.
I feel like he sort of warmed to her in the end, because he was sort of like, I don't actually mind how people identify or anything. And I was like, well, that is the woke nonsense that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
To go back to what we were talking about, because
I'm sorry about this ADHD conversation. I hope you bloody love it.
I don't know how we got here, but we met up on the International Female Ride Out, and this one had already been stalking us because she went to... It's not that bad. No, we had a mutual friend. The mutual friend was like, oh, I've got these two friends who need to meet. And then met her at the Ride Out, met Jessie at the Ride Out. We went for coffee then afterwards.
Yep.
And we haven't got rid of her since.
Yeah.
No, it took a while. It was just kind of like weekly meetups at bike night, and then we just became better and better friends. And
Yeah, it was a brilliant ride out though. And at that year, it was to raise money for
It was the North Wales, or it was
Domestic
the
abuse. Yeah.
hotline
Yes.
or something.
So it was to raise money for domestic abuse in women, was it?
It was to raise money for the domestic abuse helpline, not to raise money to domestically abuse people.
yeah, let's just get that out there.
Yeah,
we-
but, like, I'm sure that's what they gathered.
We also did it this year again, and it was for Air Ambulance this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was for North Wales Air Ambulance. A big shout out to them. I'll put links to both charities in the description so that you can donate if possible. They are both brilliant charities, and they're making massive differences.
Yeah, and like they came out to you as well when you had your accent. So.
Yeah, so this was a really funny thing on this year's
Oh my God,
on this year's
yeah.
ride out. So I was involved with an accident with my little Honda Gram and a tractor. So I will do a full story time about that in a different video. But an air ambulance was called out, and I kind of I kind of understood why, because they were like, oh, there's been a motorcycle accident, and like that's instantly like
Yeah.
first priority. And I couldn't walk at the time either because I think the tractor went over my leg, and
Yeah, I think it glanced your leg, but like those
Yeah.
wheels are big enough that a glance is a serious
oh,
thing.
it was definitely enough because I could not walk. I couldn't really feel the bottom part of my leg, which was very worrying. Especially as a biker, like that's my brake pedal. I don't want to need it to be up here. You know what I mean? So that was
Air
definitely
Ambulance
worrying.
crew getting her back on track.
Yeah. So this year for the female international ride out, we ended up bumping into a few of the ambulance crew, didn't we?
We were talking to them at the airbase.
Yeah, we were literally just chatting to them, and I was like, oh yeah, I think it got called out like last year for my accident. And he was like, what I think you mentioned, was you riding
I wasn't there, remember? I was
Yeah.
inside.
Yes, that's right. But I was like, oh yeah, it was a little Honda Gram, a little tiny bike, and he was like, I remember that, I was there. And I was instantly like, wow, that is crazy.
You've also ran into the cops who were called out for it as well.
Yeah, like I've literally bumped into everyone
Yeah.
that's bloody called out to it at this point.
I was watching a helicopter land at the time.
That's right, yes.
But as I was talking to these guys, to these guys with the air ambulance, they got called out. So it just shows how busy they are and how much they genuinely need people's support, because they are publicly funded, aren't they?
They are pretty much, they're a charity.
Yeah, so they're basically publicly funded. So any donations will massively help
Which
that
is
charity.
crazy because they're called everywhere.
They are genuinely superheroes, and they
Yeah.
save lives on a daily basis. They get called out to the worst of the worst. So
Yeah.
these people deserve everything, and they have a special place in heaven wherever way you look at it.
I've just remembered, wasn't there a question in there about, oh yeah, being trans going to bike meets? Like, when I was in Ireland, like, I only had one biker friend, and after a while he stopped riding his bike altogether. So I kind of was like on some Facebook groups, and I was really nervous about going to a bike meet.
Yeah.
And I think one day I just said, screw it, let's just go. Oh, royalty over here. And it's, again, really accepting. Nobody really had anything negative to say. And then I found a group of women riders, the Motorbikes Women Ireland. They were fantastic. They're a really fun group to ride out with.
I think one thing you've got to consider with bikers is like, what's the most popular music for bikers? It's typically like rock, metal, and that sort of music definitely attracts a certain crowd, and it's typically just the crowd that'll like just fucking live your life, like do what you want to do, be happy.
Yeah, so like if you're a trans biker, just go for it. If people are assholes, then just walk away from them.
Generally, don't ask about their politics. Like, I think there's a bit of a divide,
Yeah.
and you can usually tell by the kind of bike they're riding. I think I've never had a problem with sport bike riders ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. They might be arrogant and like macho and be like, "Oh, you're just a girl," you know, but they never. Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's mini bike riders who, you meet the nicest people on a Honda.
You do.
Yeah, this
And
is
then I'd say there are like cruiser and retro riders where there's a little bit of a crossover. It's old men who want to look cool, and there is a little bit of a let's say a sort of right wing lean there. Some of them can
There's
be a bit
definitely-
racist.
See, I feel like this is kind of a front that a lot of people like to put on now.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time, you speak to these people and they're actually lovely. Like, even if they
Oh yeah,
find out
they're
you're trans,
absolutely lovely. But
Like-
it's like if you get into their political views, it can be a bit weird. Which is why I
Yes.
think it's important, if your first impression of these people is that they're nice, it's worth politely trying to steer them in the right direction and sort of
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
politely, nicely saying, actually, maybe your views are a little bit problematic. Maybe you
Yeah.
haven't done the research, and maybe we shouldn't murder people we don't like. That sort of thing.
Absolutely. I think the worst I've had in the biker group is just like men hitting on you, staring at you. You know, oh, you're just a girl. You don't really know what you're talking about.
Oh,
That's what happens when you wear a
It's-
panda moto and you unzip it there and you just get...
Yes, because I have okay sized boobs. Okay, I actually had a guy buy me a coffee, and I'm pretty sure that's why.
yeah, you get your boobs out, you get coffee.
But generally, like everybody's like the people we meet are so nice.
Yeah, I feel like literally most people you meet are willing to listen to you.
Yeah,
Biker
So-
girls as well, in general, are always so fucking lovely.
I don't think I've ever met a biker girl I got a bad impression of.
No, most people that you meet on a bike are absolutely lovely. Like you all have something in common, and you're all there for the same reason because you love bikes. You want to see other people's bikes. You want to, experience that sort of culture. And I think that's quite important in the bike community is that we've all got that connection.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing, never leave a biker behind. Stop for a biker if they look like they're in trouble.
Yeah, and I think the important thing here is that we're all breaking stereotypes. We are all bikers. We are all trans girls. So I think the important lesson here is like if you are if you think that you might be trans, but then you have some more masculine traits, for example, biking, football, wherever.
Yeah.
Then bloody like them. Like if you genuinely feel this way on the inside, you should absolutely just be yourself and be the most true version of yourself.
I have a very masculine job as well.
Yeah.
That's probably, of the two of them, that's probably a topic for another video. But yeah, I drive trucks for a living. It's a very masculine
dominated industry.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
a lot... you see, I was doing it before I came out as well, so I know how they speak about women drivers. And it's very, very much, I think, behind closed doors, that it's quite toxic. But to my face, they're lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I'm very good with mechanics. I can fix cars, bikes, which, typically is a masculine thing to be interested in. This one is infatuated with fighter jets.
I knew that was going to
planes.
come up.
Yeah,
You know, and tanks.
all the war stuff.
Yeah, like this one, like she watches football, she drinks beer. So just like there's no masculine, feminine things. You just you like what you like.
Like if you know that you're trans and you know that you are you feel more the opposite gender, but then you have these odd little things that you're like, I really like that, I really like doing this, I really like doing this. Am I actually a woman? Am I actually a man? Just bloody
Just go
do
for it.
do what you want to do.
I feel like we could talk so much about that.
Yeah,
It's probably worth an entire another video.
I feel like that stems from like these are boy toys, these are girl toys.
Yeah.
And we keep that going, and I think that could be a topic for an entire video on its own.
It was a huge part of me transitioning later than I perhaps could have. So I think we'll talk a lot about that.
We'll do a deep dive into like gender stereotypes and stuff.
Yeah, I think that would be
video.
an upcoming video very soon, I think.
Yeah, so make sure to subscribe and you'll be able to find out about the future videos as well.
I think we've probably covered everything in this topic, and
I think so as well.
A lot of other random stuff.
A lot of other random
tacked
stuff.
on.
But that's like the more ADHD you put in a room, the more sidetracked we're gonna get.
Yeah,
But
But
like-
I'm watching in the monitor and my hair is kind of off and it's been bothering me the whole time, and I'm like just doing this throughout the whole video, so sorry.
That's staying in the video, just so you know.
Yeah, okay.
But like if there's any questions that you had and we didn't answer them, absolutely put them in the comment section below. We'll read them. We do read all the comments and we save them for future videos or Q&As. So, give us any questions that we didn't answer in this video.
But thank you all for watching. Hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Make sure to subscribe and like the video as well, as it helps a bunch. And make sure to check out the channel as well, because we've got a lot of other videos which will help the trans community. We're also going to leave a link in the description for the Discord channel, so hopefully we'll see you there. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.